All right, guys, it's been what? A lot of drama has happened in the last few days as far as South African football is concerned. And we meet once again talking PSL, talking everything that unfolded in the last few days. Let me welcome my guest for today, Sosi. Mr. Kuna, how you doing? You well?
I'm more than you say. Baptism of fire, I can see already.
I think if there's one man who was always coming out and wanting Kuna to be in the starting 11, it was you. And yeah, let's talk about how things happen. I mean, Kaizer Chiefs coming right at the end. Shuaib and Velile, by the way, joining us for this one as well. The well-traveled man on the continent in the world in football. So in own course, he's coming up later on today. Shuaib, goalkeeper. Yeah. Guys, seen the league come to an end last week. What a dramatic weekend that was. I mean, Saturday was a day most fans would like to forget, depending on which team you support. Ernst Middendorp, no longer part of Kaizer Chiefs. Shaun Bartlett out as well. So looks like the chairman realized that, they're so close and missing out and decided to clean up.
Yeah, I think, congratulations, first of all, has to go to Sundowns, for perseverance, not giving up. That even, at times when they buckled, Kaizer Chiefs buckled as well, but you know what, they at the end of the day had the full quality. I think there was a lot more pressure on Kaizer Chiefs than what there was on Sundowns, and I think that could have been maybe one of the factors. But I mean, look, we weren't really happy with the way they've been playing probably the whole second half of the season. So you know what, at the end of the day, you have to give credit to Sundowns for coming through with the amount of quality that they do have. It's sad. It's sad to see our friend Middendorp leave, but I think it was coming. It was a long way coming. I think this was probably just a nail in the coffin, losing the league. And I think I just feel for the players of Kaizer Chiefs because of the effort, and I don't think it's so much to do with them not wanting it or them sabotaging the situation. I think they wanted it as much as the coach wanted it. Even if the coach maybe knew before the time already, even if they won the league, they were going to get. Obviously, he was going to lose his job. So I think I feel for the Kaizer Chiefs players because going all that way and leaving it for the last day and obviously faltering through on the last day. So yeah, I feel for them.
Calvin, you've always wanted to see Tumelo Nkune in goals. He got a chance to play in the last two matches after the injury to their regular goalkeeper this season in Delek Bay. What do you make of his performance in those two matches in particular? And really, how do Chiefs come out of this going forward?
First of all, I was happy at least to see him being back on the team. As much as a lot of damage has been done in terms of his confidence, that was tempered. And moving forward to that, his performance wasn't that good because he had to balance emotionally first and then try to also get into the team system. Within that being said, I think the guys missed him as well, as much as they knew what was going on in the dressing room. But I think him coming back into the field as well actually gave those guys at the back four that they got one of the best keepers in goal. That's always going to protect them. But anyway, as I'm saying, as things already went pear-shaped, so even the goal that he conceded on the last game, I know that there was a lot that was expected out of him. And knowing him is a man with that pedigree that he can actually hold the team up.
All right, Willem Nyandu, rather. Let's talk about this Velile. Stuart Baxter is gone, or rather Ernst Middendorp is gone. Shaun Bartlett is gone. And Lee Baxter stays at Kaizer Chiefs. And there's been rumors around who's going to be the replacement, who's going to come in and replace the coaches that have departed. I know I've seen on social media the fans have made it clear who they want to be in a team. Gavin Hunt is a front runner at the moment. Everybody's thinking Gavin Hunt should take over the job. Your take on the departure of the technical team that has left and Lee Baxter staying, and then who do you think will be the right coach now, given where Chiefs is at the moment?
Well, good afternoon, good evening, gents. I remember the last time we met, we were here on Monday, and we did touch on what could happen, because I think I even made a statement about an outgoing coach. You know, it's Friday today. That first part has happened. Now the next part is who is coming, as Bruno is asking. But I think, you know, as I had said last week, it was not surprising because Coach Middendorp, there were even talks from last season when he started the season that he had been given few matches, but he continued to achieve. He continued to win, and all of a sudden, Kaizer Chiefs found themselves in a position they've never been in the last 5 years, which was to win the league. So I think the way this whole thing happened, I mean, they had been on top of the log for over 11 months, you know, for 12 months, you know, and then they found themselves in this situation where Sundowns just took everything with only 19 minutes to go in the Absa Premiership season. But it was so a no-brainer that the contract was going to be terminated. We know that his contract was only supposed to come to an end at the end of the next season, and so they ended up having to terminate the contract. And you know what happens when a contract is terminated? They give you a salary of a certain number of months, which they would have agreed on with the management of the club. And also, it's also not surprising because when a head coach is leaving, as an assistant who was attached to that head coach, as you'll remember that Shaun Bartlett was brought in when Ernst Middendorp came, even if it was never his choice, because we've always known that his first choice was Fadlu or Mahir Davids, and that didn't happen. So even with this one of Bartlett, it was expected that when the head coach goes, and he's also going to go. But also, if you go back with some coaching changes which have happened in the past, when you change, I remember I was listening to an interview which I had done with Coach Pito when he arrived at Sundowns, and this was back in 2013, 2012. In fact, that was at the end of the season because he arrived in December 2012. So at the end of the season, he was refreshing his team. At the Sundowns boardroom, I had an interview with him, and he was also talking about why he will not be making wholesale changes. And if you look at his current technical team, some of the members of his current technical team, he found them at Sundowns, you know, members of the support staff. And I would be talking about some of your analysts. I would be talking about, I think, even Wendell Robinson, if my memory serves me well, he found him at Sundowns as well, you know. So to answer your question of Lee Baxter, it's not surprising that he's just been retained as a goalkeeper coach. And also those who work with him as a goalkeeper coach, they rate him very highly, not only in terms of qualifications, but also on the job that he can do. I mean, if you look at Daniel Akpeyi, who was at Chippa United, and the Daniel Akpeyi at Kaizer Chiefs, the goalkeeper coach here, he can tell us more about that one. So that's the situation in as far as Lee Baxter is concerned.
Let's now talk about the coach leading the pack as far as you are concerned, Velile. Gavin Hunt has been put forward. We all know that with Bidvest Wits data has been sold to TTM, and them having to relocate to go and into Toyando and play from that side in the Limpopo province. Most of the players at Wits have already signed pre-contract elsewhere. And Gavin Hunt, therefore, has made it clear he doesn't want to be traveling that side. He wants to stay. So would he be the man to say he's the man who's going to go to Kaizer Chiefs? Or I know Benny McCarthy's always come through to say he's a fan of Kaizer Chiefs from day one. He's available. So where do we go? Is Gavin Hunt the man to go for Chiefs, or are we just really clutching at straws at the moment?
I think it's interesting you're asking me this question, because I saw this afternoon the guys here at Front Runner, they are running a very interesting piece on this issue of Gavin Hunt and the speculation which also started yesterday, possibly coming with Dr. Kumalo as his assistant, which will be very interesting. But I think it is not just, the issue of Gavin Hunt is not just speculation now. You know, the moment Chiefs released Middendorp, Gavin Hunt has been trending, you know, and I think where I agree with that article is that if you've been following the comments that the chairman of Kaizer Chiefs, Mr. Kinam Taung, has been making about local coaches, there are two names which he's been very consistent on talking about: Pitso Mosimane and Gavin Hunt. And I mean, when Pitso was when we went to the press conference and Pitso was, in fact, announced that he was extending his contract at Sundowns for the next 4 years, he was also very clear that he came this close to leaving the club for one of the Gauteng big teams. And now it's not a secret anymore that he was talking to Kaizer Chiefs, you know. So with Pitso out of the picture, and Chiefs finding themselves in the situation that they are finding themselves in now, with the transfer ban. Yes, I know that they've appealed, but look, there are no guarantees at this stage that they will win the case. So it makes a lot of sense for Chiefs to go for a coach who's familiar with this league, who's familiar with the set of players that they have, but most importantly, a top coach. So if you call it speculation or what, I don't know. But one thing I can guarantee you, I remember also the article that I read today, and you go, in fact, to the Kaizer Chiefs website, to that story of 50 questions to the chairman. And there's a question there, the fans were asking the chairman about local coaches who can handle Chiefs. And the chairman, he talks about local coaches, but he still goes back to those two names as the example.
Yeah.
You know, Pitso Mosimane and Gavin Hunt. You know, so in terms of, it's important, Mabrizo, to find the context of why Gavin Hunt. For me, I don't even want to talk about another name. I know you've mentioned other names. I don't even want to talk about another name. Why it makes sense. Why the Chiefs fans have been trending this week saying the direction is Gavin Hunt. Makes a lot of sense. And I believe if there's how can I put this? If there's a chance that maybe it's not Gavin Hunt, in terms of, if we were to go into percentages, chances of Chiefs appointing another coach other than Gavin Hunt at this stage, in terms of percentages, are less than 20%.